Picture this. You wake up to the soft glow of your phone screen, groggy from a night of seeking rest in a world that never sleeps. As you mindlessly scroll through social media, your feed floods with images of beaming faces, breathtaking vacations in exotic locales, and moments that seem to perfectly encapsulate the essence of a joyous life. The seemingly flawless narratives laid out before you may ignite a spark of envy, and you might find yourself thinking, why can't I be that happy? But what if the relentless pursuit of happiness, this facade we chase so fervently, is actually the very thing driving us into a pit of discontent and misery? What if, in our frantic quest for joy, we've lost all sense of what genuine happiness truly entails? In today's exploration, we will dive deep into the inherently complex interplay between capitalism and toxic positivity, and how they intertwine to shape our understanding of true happiness, contrasting these modern notions with the timeless wisdom found in ancient philosophies such as Stoicism and Buddhism. Let's begin our discussion with capitalism, an ever-dominant force in our lives. In a world driven by relentless consumerism, happiness has been all too often equated with what we possess and the achievements we can parade. From an early age, we're socialized with messages that tell us if we can just acquire the latest gadget, embark on that elusive dream vacation, or secure that coveted promotion, we will be granted access to a happiness that seems perpetually just out of reach. But is this understanding of happiness truly accurate? Are we genuinely attaining joy, or are we merely experiencing fleeting moments of pleasure that only serve as a temporary fix for a deeper sense of longing? The reality is rather disturbing. Capitalism at its core commodifies our emotions, coaxing us into a belief that happiness is something that can be bought or acquired. Consequently, we find ourselves trapped in a continuous cycle of craving, perpetually wanting more, yet never quite knowing when enough is enough. Now let's pivot our focus to something beyond material pursuits, ancient philosophies that offer us a different perspective entirely. The Stoics, for instance, believed that true happiness comes from within oneself, rather than from external validations or possessions. They posited that our emotions are not dictated by our circumstances. Rather, they are heavily influenced by our thoughts and perceptions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, advocated for focusing on what we can control while accepting what lies beyond our grasp. This powerful reframing shifts the locus of happiness from the often whimsical and chaotic external world to our inner resilience and strength. In parallel, we can turn our attention to Buddhism, which emphasizes the importance of mindfulness and deeply connecting with our true selves. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that suffering is an intrinsic aspect of the human experience. However, through the practices of mindfulness and cultivating awareness, we can discover a sense of peace and contentment amid life's trials and tribulations. In this light, happiness is not a destination to be reached, but rather a continuous practice to be engaged in daily life. In stark contrast to these rich philosophical frameworks, we find ourselves grappling with a more modern, distorted message. Enter toxic positivity. This insidious notion insists that we should always be happy, perpetually wear smiles on our faces, and never dare to acknowledge feelings such as sadness, anger, or frustration. The belief that we must constantly maintain a cheerful demeanor can be extraordinarily harmful. It leads us to suppress our genuine emotions, creating a false sense of well-being that is ultimately unsustainable. Picture a scenario where someone facing a difficult moment is advised, just think positively. This well-meaning suggestion can leave them feeling isolated and even more alone in their struggle, as though they're the only one grappling with challenges. Toxic positivity reinforces the idea that it's unacceptable to experience negative feelings, engendering a vicious feedback loop filled with shame and guilt once those feelings inevitably emerge. Fortunately, both Stoicism and Buddhism extend an alternative path, one that opposes this damaging narrative. Instead of relentlessly pursuing fleeting moments of joy and suppressing our emotions, they teach us the invaluable lesson of embracing the full spectrum of our emotional experiences. Acceptance, understanding, and the notion that happiness can coexist with discomfort allow us to redefine our relationship with our feelings. The Stoics, for instance, advocated for the practice of premeditatio malorum, a thought experiment wherein individuals visualize potential misfortunes to mentally prepare themselves for life's unpredictability. This isn't an exercise in pessimism. Rather, it's about equipping ourselves for the realities of life. Why expend energy chasing a perception of a perfect life when embracing life as it is, complete with its ups and downs, can lead to profound inner peace? Acceptance does not equate to defeat. Instead, it means recognizing the present moment for what it is and finding strength and clarity within that space. In truth, happiness flows far more freely when it is not forced into rigid confines or dictated by societal expectations. Now consider the idea of happiness as a collective journey. Rather than engaging in competition to showcase only our best moments and highlight reels, let us strive to cultivate environments where we can proudly share our vulnerabilities. Connection, empathy, and community have long stood as the cornerstones of lasting happiness, elements that transcend the superficial narratives plastered across social media. So, the next time you find yourself lost in an endless scroll through your social media feed, or feel pressured to don a smile when you're not truly feeling it, take a moment to pause and take a deep breath. Remind yourself that happiness is not merely an endpoint to be achieved. It's a journey that we traverse, one marked by acceptance, resilience, and meaningful connections with those around us. Let's embark on this journey of redefining happiness together. If you found this exploration insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue this important conversation. Remember, until next time, it's absolutely okay not to be okay.